Welcome to another installment of This Is Not Normal on the Political Drain podcast with Drill Sergeant Doug, aka Admin Doug, a U.S. Army veteran, teacher, musician, and family man from Jamaica, now fights for justice and democracy through commentary and humor. Follow him on YouTube at Political Drain and at Sons of Liberty Official as Drill Sergeant, aka Admin Doug, continues to protect our freedoms.
What's up, YouTube? And I'm sure you saw the thumbnail. I'm sure you read the title. So you probably have some idea of what this is about. And it's important. So I hope you forgive me if I forego the comic stylings, if I get rid of some of the satire and just give this one to you straight. Because America, the United States, is facing a quiet crisis in self-harm prevention systems. A glaring example of the drastic mismanagement is Texas, once again.
It's the Texas Standard. I'm David Brown. With mental health professionals warning of a recent rise of patients, there's a good chance that you've heard that resources are available as close as the phone. One of those resources here in the Lone Star State is 988. That's a suicide and crisis lifeline that's operated by the state of Texas. If you're ever in need and you dial that number on your phone, you'll be connected with somebody who can provide assistance, at least in theory. According to recent reporting by the Texas Tribune, thousands of calls to 988 are abandoned each month because the agency that runs the hotline is constantly stretched too thin. It's something Stephen Simpson has been reporting on. He covers mental health for the Texas Tribune. Stephen, welcome back to the Texas Standard.
Thank you for having me again. So the 988 system is actually just our local mental health authorities' crisis counselor hotlines that have been funded by the 988 federal funds. The way the system works is that every time you call a 988 line, it automatically puts you to the nearest local mental health authority. And if that one's not available, it will keep transferring you until someone can answer it. Unfortunately, right now, we only have about 5 of these compared to a state that has state like Florida, which has 13. So you can kind of see the disparity in how overstretched our callers are going to be. And that's forcing a lot of people being transferred out of state, and that's leading to drop calls.
The state is grappling with a $7 million deficit for its self-harm hotline services. Thousands of calls to the 988 hotline are dropped, leaving vulnerable people stranded when they need help the most. Resources are spread thin. And let's be clear, this isn't an accident, YouTube. This is by design. I know it sounds strange, but just let me finish. With the return of the Trump Reich and Project 2025 running amok in our agencies, federal funding for these programs will likely dry up entirely. Those in power, these rich, parasitic oligarchs, they don't care about us. They just don't. They don't care about if we suffer, and they certainly don't care if we die quietly. Quickly and quietly and without a fight is probably how they would prefer it. Actually, definitely how they would prefer it. We see this everywhere. Okay? I mean, it's in the way that health insurance companies deny life-saving care. In the way our uninsured neighbors are treated as disposable, left to die in the waiting room for the crime of being born poor or having been poor even after being rich. Yet, despite all of this, the suicide hotlines like 988 and now the new trans lifeline at 877-565-8869, they do good work. They do good work. Despite all of that, they're often the last lifeline for people teetering on the edge. And at those times, seconds matter. And in a moment of crisis, they are there for us at our weakest. But they're not close enough. They're not, especially when they're underfunded, overstretched, and staffed by burnt out poor people doing emotionally grueling work for far less pay than they deserve. Let's be honest. The fact that these hotlines are overwhelmed at all tells us something bigger. We are failing each other. We have been for a while. And this isn't an individual thing, but it will be by the end. We collectively have been for a while. Why are there so many people in crisis? I mean, it's because we've allowed loneliness and isolation to become the default experience in this country. It's because we put the responsibility of each other's well-being to overworked hotline workers who can only do so much and are often struggling, immensely struggling themselves. Now, in the face of this fourth or fifth Reich that we're seeing, it's the time to change that. I leave my email address at the end of every video so we can change that. Yeah, I'm building a resistance. I need good people who can be vetted. But I also want people to be there for each other. I just want people to connect. I want to say there's a way we can reach you. There's a way we can know each other through the email. And if you want to do more and if you want to fight back, yeah, I got a place for you. But if you need help, maybe I can help you get it. Maybe I can't. But if you don't reach out, we won't know. This is the first step, the start. Because maybe you may have thought that keeping your head down was the way to keep your family safe. But now, in the Fifth Reich that we're in, you may now realize that there's no such thing. There's no such thing. The reality is stark, people. That's why I'm saying it this way. The federal government will not come to save us. Under the Trump Reich, things will only get worse. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. I mean, if you don't believe me, just watch the stories. They're out there. It's happening.
The Trump regime has mandated the closure of all federal diversity offices, ordering that employees in these roles be placed on paid administrative leave by Wednesday evening. The directive, which targets diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility programs, marks one of the administration's most sweeping actions against federal diversity initiatives to date.
News: another executive order Trump just signed gives the White House counsel the full authority to give interim top-secret security clearances to whomever the president wants for up to 6 months.
Today, we are supposed to begin seeing the mass deportations across the country.
Breaking news, the Trump administration will soon deploy as many as 1,500 active duty troops to U.S.'s border with Mexico. It's not clear which troops or units will go or what their role will be, such as law enforcement. However, the troops are expected to be used to support U.S. Border Patrol agents with logistics, transporting, and constructing barriers.
Donald Trump just revoked the Civil Rights Act of 1965. This is the act that protected Black people, brown people, LGBTQIA plus people, marginalized groups from being discriminated against when trying to get employment.
Systems like 988 and services for refugees and marginalized communities are already crumbling, and they will collapse entirely if we don't act to supplement them. That's what I mean. The reality is especially true for trans people. Sanctuary states like California and Minnesota offer hope, but only for those of us who are lucky enough to already live there, or for the privileged enough to move. Most of us, you, don't have that luxury. We rely on GoFundMe campaigns and other sources of crowdfunding, which, while helpful, are not sustainable solutions. You know this. Nor are they mutual aid. We need more than individual charity. We need structural change. The answer starts with community. That's what we're building. We need to come together and build parallel systems, structures that don't rely on the federal government, coffers, and lies. When we do push our government, if you do choose to run for local government, I have people to help you do that. I have someone who's actually a campaign strategist on the team to help you run locally if you email me. But when we do push our government and use the government, the idea is to push them to fund hotlines, housing, and mental health resources. We need to organize mutual aid networks to help people move to safety and find state housing on our own as well, and get the support they need to live with dignity now more than ever. We need to also reduce the strain on these hotlines by addressing the root causes of unaliving, the loneliness, the poverty, and the systemic rot we all experience. The less people need to call these hotlines, the more effective they will be for those in acute crisis situations, because that won't stop, no matter how good things are. Political drain, the family here from Sons of Liberty, anti-Karen soldiers, special operations forces. We face daunting work, but it's not impossible. It is not impossible. History shows us that when systems fail, communities step up and fill the vacuum. Mutual aid, solidarity, and local action have always been the antidote to the poison of tyranny. That's the fact. Every small act of care, every connection to build, every dollar you share with someone in need, it all matters in the end. The rich want us to feel hopeless and powerless, but we aren't. Every time we come together, we weaken their grip. Every time we show up for each other, we prove them wrong. The power to build a better world is in our hands, not theirs. Let's take it. I'm taking it. Join me. And if you take nothing else from this, take one thing away. It starts with you. It starts with you. Reach out to your friends. Check in on your neighbors. Connect however you can to your online neighbors and your offline ones as well. Advocate for local funding or run yourself. At least think about it. Email me. Do whatever you can, where you can, with what you have. And together, that brick builds the foundation that continues to rise until the roof is on top and the house is built, one by one. But you matter. You matter to me, but more broadly, to all of this. You matter. You matter. We can weather this together. And maybe it's just me, but I believe we can come out stronger and better on the other side. Share this. Educate yourself. Educate others. And then come back for more. The list of the hotlines that are still functional, that do good work, will be right there in the comment section. I'll see you on the next one. Follow us on all these things you see here, and our link tree is in the description. Maybe even get some merch.
That was the Political Drain podcast, which can be heard on pd.groovechillradio.com daily and can be viewed on the Political Drain YouTube channel anytime. Once again, thank you for listening to Groove Chill as we resist fascism in any form, pursue democracy, peace, and love.